Hello everyone, welcome to Sharmit. In this session, we are going to discuss about another very important lifecycle event hook for component, that is ngAfterContentInit. Okay, so in this session we will discuss what is ngAfterContentInit. To understand this concept, we will use one real life scenario, right, where we will talk on the basis of student and teacher components, right? Because in previous session also we discussed about some of the other hooks like ng do check, ngInit, constructor, right? So this session is in the continuation of the same, where we will talk about the ngAfterContentInit. Okay, but before we proceed further, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released sessions first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow them sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic. Because for time being, we are just mainly focusing on how to use ngAfterContentInit. Okay, so let's go and let's get started with the code. So before we proceed further, we need one component to create here, right? Because we all know that with default project, it comes with one application component, or you can say app component, that is a by default component or main component, right? Now you can consider this app component as a teacher component, because from last couple of sessions we are talking about the teacher and student components, right? So you can consider this as a teacher component, and now we will create another component with name student. So let's go on new terminal. Here we will write ng gc space, and the component name would be student, and then simply press enter. So once you press enter, it will take few seconds and it will create a file for us, all four file for us, that is component files. So you can see student component is created now. Now what next? Now we will understand the concept of ngAfterContentInit. So let's start with the definition itself, because first thing we need is the definition, because once the definition is clear, then we will see the practical thing. So if someone asks you what is ngAfterContentInit, so you can simply say that ngAfterContentInit is a lifecycle hook in Angular that is called once after Angular project's external content. Okay, this is very important line. It is called only once after Angular project's external content. That is a content passed using ngContent. I'll tell you what is this ngContent. So with this tag, we can project the parents component view into child component. So I'll show you that. Okay, clear? So this is the one thing. Then second thing is, it is used to perform any initialization or logic that depends on projected content, such as accessing add content child, add content children. So these are the two things that also we will be discussing through example. But overall it is clear, I think, now that what is this ngAfterContentInit, and when it is called after the ngOnInit. Okay, so once ngOnInit is called, then it will be called only once, not every time. Okay, so there is a one trick for you, whenever we are talking about the init hooks, right? So just keep it in mind that it will be called only once. Okay, and when it is called after the external content is available to the component. Okay, so I think definition wise we are good. Now it's time to see how we can project the content, because we are talking about projection of content, right? So what I will do now, I will simply connect this student component with app component. So let's go to this student.component.ts. From here we will copy this selector. So just simply copy it, go to this app.component.ts file. Here we will register the component with the name student component. So just simply write here, you will see it is already there. So just register it. Once you register it, it will also import this file which is needed. Now simply go to this app.component.html. Here we will attach the selector as a tag. Perfect. So this is the simple thing, we just connected it. Now what we will do, After this, we will simply, let me show you output first and then we will make the modification. So here we will write ngServe space hyphen open and then press enter. So it will take few seconds and it will run the application in the browser. So let's see how much time it will take. If there is any error, it will throw the error, but no error, so it will simply open the browser. So here you can see it is printing this thing, Angular by Tech Sharmit student works. So this Angular by Tech Sharmit is coming from the parent component, student works is coming from the child component. Now what we are going to do, from this app.component.html file, here we will write some logic, UI logic you can say, means HTML part. That content we will be projecting into student component.html here. How? Let me show you, because that is the only way through which we can call this ngAfterContentInit. So for that, let's simply go to this ngStudentComponent.ts. Here we will define the function. So I'll simply write here ngAfterContent ng. This is case sensitive, so make sure to write it in the same way. Content init, opening closing parenthesis and then the curly braces. Here we will just print one message, console.log, and here we will write we can simply write that books has been projected from app, or slash we can write teacher, because we are talking about same component, right? Teacher component. Okay, so this is the message which we want to display. Now when this message will be displayed, when we project something, although like if I run this thing, let me show you one interesting thing. Right now if I click on inspect and show you the console output, you will see that it is printing this message, books has okay, something is wrong here. Books is, let's make it as books is projected. Okay, so you let me refresh it, just close it and refresh it. Okay, now we will check again. So you will see that still it is calling the function. That means every time it is calling it, but actually what is happening behind the scene, like whenever component app component view is projected, it will throw this message. But that doesn't mean that, like, let me show you in a very simpler way. Okay, so from this app.component.html we are using this app student. That means we have projected something, right? And that's why it is printing those console line. But with this we are not only able to print this message, but we can do so many other things. Let me show you how. So here what we will do, we will simply we are talking about considering this app as a teacher, right? Teacher component. So what I will do now, we will write one paragraph here. Here we will mention maths notebook, maths notebook with formula. So suppose teacher is writing this thing on a blackboard, for example. Okay, so this is something written on the blackboard. Now from here we want to print it on a child component HTML. So what we can do here, we can simply write here ngContent. So what this ngContent will do, it will project the content on user, means on children component. So when you refresh it, you will see that maths notebook with formula is printed, and at the same time you will see that that log message is also printed, because we are projecting something from the teacher module or app module, sorry, teacher component. Okay, so books is projected from app or teacher component. Clear? So don't get confused like why it is every time printing, because every time we are connecting it, right? So that's why, that's the only reason it is considering it as a projection. So if you are attaching your children component here with app student selector, that means you are projecting something. So this is the one thing, that with ngAfterContentInit you can project something like this, and whenever it is projected, this function will be called, because here we are mainly talking about like when this function will be invoked. So this function will be invoked whenever we are projecting something to child component. Okay, now one more interesting thing I want to show. this is only not used for this purpose. This can also be used for modifying the UI. How? Let me show you. So suppose here we are writing this paragraph. So what I will do now, I will assign some template variable name to this, for example notebook. Okay, now what we can do, through child component HTML file we can make some modification in it. How? Let me show you. So what we will do here now, we will simply, let's go to this student component.ts. Here what we will do, we will access this value. How? We will simply write here @content child, then in quotes we will write here notebook, then we will write here notebook, exclamation mark, colon, and element ref. Okay, so we have added these two things. Remember one thing, whenever you are using this content child or element ref, make sure to import it here, otherwise it won't work. In my case it is automatically added because we are using editor, right? That's the only reason. So what this line will do now, this line will help us to modify the thing in this function. How? Let me show you. So what we will do now, we will change the UI of app.component.html file from here. How? Let me show you. This .notebook .native element .style .background color equal yellow. So what it will do now, it will change the color for us. Let me show you. So here you can see the paragraph color is changed to yellow, and if you look at this app.component.html file, we are not doing anything here, right? We are not applying any style. So this thing is applied with the help of this ngAfterContentInit function or hook, because with the help of this function only we are doing this thing. So how we have accessed it? We have accessed it through keyword notebook using content child. So let's say if there are multiple paragraphs, okay, so in that case you will use here children, content children, not content child. Okay, but here we are using only one paragraph, that's why we are using content child. Clear? This exclamation mark is just to tell that we are sending something, so it will not ask for the initialization value. Okay, now few more things I want to tell you here in this session. One is the difference between ngContentInit and ngAfterContentInit. Sorry, ngOnInit and ngAfterContentInit. So the difference between ngOnInit and ngAfterContentInit is only that in case of ngOnInit, it can only access the input variables, or you can say the variable that we have accessed with the help of input decorator. Okay, but in case of ngAfterContentInit, it can also access the things that are passed through content child or content children. Okay, so this is the main difference between ngOnInit and ngAfterContentInit. Okay, so if someone asks you what is the difference between ngOnInit and ngAfterContentInit, so you can say that ngOnInit is called when ngOnInit is called when component is ready with the input variables, or and it can access the input decorator values. But in case of ngAfterContentInit, it is called when the content is projected from parent component to child component, from one component to another component, and at that time once the content is initialized, so at the same time it can also access the content child or content children content. So you can see here we can access it. In fact, we can modify it. So that is the also important, that is also a very major thing, that we are not only able to see this, but we can also modify it. So this is the best advantage of it. Okay, now I hope this content is clear to all of you, this thing is clear to all of you, like how we use this hook method. Now one more thing I want to tell you here, like everything is working in the sequential manner. Firstly constructor, then ngOnInit. So I'm assuming that you all know about those methods which we have already, because if I show all again and again, then things would be a bit complex for you. That's why we are talking separately about these function. Clear? So I hope today's session is clear to all of you. In the next session, we will discuss few more things. Meanwhile, if there is any query, please share with me using the comments. So yeah, that's all for today. See you in the next session. Thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.